Right, Bill Henshaw here again. More current events. Some of you may have read that there's what looks like at least a small movement in the Democratic Party to impeach Brett Kavanaugh. Now, of course, he's only not even been on the court for a year yet. And at initial, first blush, it doesn't seem like that would make a lot of sense for them to do it. But I can tell you that if we had another year before the presidential election, quote unquote, there isn't one, by the way, that scenario might make some sense because, in addition with Ginsburg's resignation and or death, they're going to have two seats there. Now, for those of you that don't know, what Congress could do if they had like a 2 year gap is reduce the amount of justices on the court. And there is precedent for that. And wouldn't you know, it comes in an era that, well, what the hell? I mean, I am an expert on it. I may as well say that. I am the Reconstruction era in the 39th Congress. And they did that, and the court at the time when Lincoln was president, they had 9 justices, just as we do today. But by the time 1867 and 1868 rolled around, we're down to 6. Because we had a couple of retirements and a death. And Congress simply reduced the amount of justices on the court, and you can check Article 3 of the Constitution, you'll see it doesn't say anywhere in there how many justices we're supposed to have on the Supreme Court. In theory, could they just have one? Heaven forbid, and that it should be Warren E. Berger, the Chief Justice in the 1970s and 80s. I mean, that would be a disaster. But it doesn't say anything about that. I don't know if that didn't occur to the framers or what. But for those of you who don't know, again, when they started out, they had 6, an even number, back when John Marshall was Chief Justice early in his Chief Justiceship. And it went up to 9 fairly shortly thereafter, and it stayed there until what I just described with Andrew Johnson. And as a matter of fact, the court briefly went up to 10. And this, to me, looks very ugly because what happened in the year time frame when that situation existed, the court took the opportunity to reverse a very big case called Juilliard Agreement, a money issue case, where the Supreme Court ruled against the federal government issuing fiat paper currency throughout the war between the states. And this is really bizarre because the Chief Justice at the time, Solomon Chase, Taney unfortunately had passed away, but who ruled against it, was in 1862 the Secretary of the Treasury, and he advised Lincoln that it was a perfectly sound bill and there should be no problems with it. That's a really interesting story. I'm going to find out more later and I'll pass it on to you. But nevertheless, they ruled against it, and that's when all hell breaks loose, and now we get not only 9 justices but 10. And one of the reasons for that was that with the court's internal rules that no one's officially aware of as far as I know, to reverse the case, especially in that short of a time frame, you have to have the votes from at least one member of the prior majority in order to do it. Because think about it, even if it's 5-4, if none of the majority is going to vote to hear the case again, why bother? It's going to be the same result. With 10 justices, now they had an extra chance to do it, and they didn't need a member from the majority if they didn't get one. And they got one, and they reversed it very ugly. About the next term, a case called Knox v. Lee, the legal tender cases. Now, all of a sudden, it's all right to issue fiat paper currency. Anyway, I don't want to stray too much about that, but there is precedent for reducing the membership of the court. Now, I don't think so the way it looks to me, because with the quote-unquote election coming next year, even if they try to impeach him, that process is going to take a while, maybe longer than 2020 before it even happened. And then if they don't win the election anyway, and who knows about that, it's not going to help them. So even if they reduce it to 8, when Ginsburg dies or what have you, that seat doesn't matter philosophically. They're still going to have at least a 5-4 majority, or at least what looks like a 5-4 conservative majority. Story for another day. So that wouldn't help. If they can get Kavanaugh out of there, of course, it goes the other way. Now it's 4-5 if they get someone elected on the Democratic side. And I wouldn't be betting a lot on that in Las Vegas, just me speaking personally here. I wouldn't be, but we'll see about that. So anyway, I don't think so. But there's some interesting things going on behind the scenes here, and surely some of the Democrats haven't been thrilled with some of the rulings Kavanaugh has made in the time he's been on the court. So he's looks like he's the conservative that he made himself out to be. So if and when that scenario changes, there will be an update on it, and I will get back to you. That said, like my videos, subscribe, tell your friends, and let's see what else. Oh yeah, and send me for my information on my materials that are available. Constitutional Defense Document Packet. Send me an email at youwinincourt@gmail.com. I'll get you information right out on that. You're going to absolutely love it. And especially with the big changes I've had in the council issue and now getting documents filed in cases. Once we do that, the ball game is over. Thank you.